What's going on, brother? I have not watched any NFL today. Zero. Not even turned it on. I watched the Caps game, and then I was watching some of the St. Peter's basketball game. Alex, to answer your question in the Caps game, it's for the first few minutes, it started off good. And then what was funny is I had somebody watching it with me, and I told him, I said, why are the Caps not playing any defense whatsoever? I mean, they were playing none other than the goalie. So the fact that they got out of the first period with no goals and that they only gave up the one early because they had the one taken back because of high sticking. Truth be told, going into the third period, being the fact that Washington tried to get cute on a runaway that should have tied the game, Washington should have been down 3 goals going into the third period. And then in the third period, they turned it up. 2 penalty kills, played fast as lightning, the way they normally play, and they controlled the third period. And then when they go down a goal because of an empty netter, you would think it's over. They said, no, we're going to go ahead and turn it up. 2 goals, 14 seconds, taken into overtime, and then win. You tell me that they couldn't have just played hard for 2 periods and won the game by multiple goals. But what are you going to do? I can't control it. I'm not coaching them. I'm not out there playing. I was really sad to see the Patriots go down last night. Take betting out of it. Take any of that out of it. Take the fact that I'm a Brady fan out of it. As a sports fan, that was sad. It really was. Now, granted, the press conference that Brady did after the game made me feel a little better. That he said that there's nothing saying that he's going to retire. Retirement's not likely. But Belichick also says that there's no timetable as to when he'll talk to Brady about returning, which makes me think that Belichick may be the one to retire, not Brady. Now, here's the thing. I don't think Brady should ever put on another uniform other than New England. I just don't think it'd be right. But if he were to come back next year and Belichick's not there, I don't think he'll be in New England. And I think Robert Kraft may be looking to sell the team. What's up, John? Mr. Gomez, what's up? I just think it's funny how people say that, I hide after a loss or anything like that. Here I am, live and direct. I'm not going to stay live long, though. And that's the thing. I mean, Brady, they didn't have a team built for the Super Bowl this year. Truth be told, they didn't have Alex, and that's what I said. I said if he left, I think he would end up with the Chargers. He's a West Coast guy. I don't think he would go to San Francisco because of the fact that Garoppolo's kind of made his name there, at least for now. He's not going to go, obviously Russell Wilson is the franchise quarterback for Seattle. I don't think that Jared Goff would go down. I also don't think that Tom Brady would go to LA. So I think that if he did suit up in another uniform, I think it would be the Chargers. You got to think of a franchise that has playoff caliber, that has somebody that's on their way out, like Phillip Rivers. It's not like he can walk into Baltimore and be like, hey, Lamar, take a seat for a year or two. I've got to play in that Seattle game. I've got a play in it. Yeah, I've still got money on the Lakers. Ruben, you ain't lying. I just went back and was looking at a box score. The turnovers were unreal. More turnovers in this game alone with Wisconsin Green Bay than they've had combined the last 7 or 8 games. And you got to think, in that 7 or 8 game stretch, they've played some tough teams. They've played one of the toughest schedules in D1 basketball this year. And they're still 12th overall in offensive scoring. But hey, I mean, guys, teams are going to have off days. But anyway, back to the Brady thing. They didn't have a team that was built for the playoffs this year. If you really go back and look at the games that they played and lost, they didn't lose to bad teams other than Miami, which Miami also played lights out that game. Brady, yes, he made probably more mistakes this year than we're used to, seeing Brady make, of course. But the thing is, look, just like last night, the dude still makes passes. If Brady comes back next year, Julian Edelman's there, Bill Belichick's there. Let's say, and I'm going to use Antonio Brown as an example. I don't think they'll go get him, but let's say they go get an Antonio Brown type player. So he has another weapon besides Edelman. Another thing that's going to happen is their offense coordinator is going to have to hang around. He is just as much a valuable piece as Edelman is to Brady, as he is to Brady. They need one more true weapon, and I think that it would be awesome if they could go out there, meander around for the season, kind of do the same thing they did this year. They need to bag at least one more win to avoid wild card and try to get home field first round advantage or bye, one or the other. Bring Gronkowski back for the playoffs. And I think that Brady plays at a high level for another year. They win one more Super Bowl and they all go out together. Did you click the dashboard icon and click the link to the play? Colson, that's the only time they played after they would get scored on. The hardest thing to watch was in the second period, in those first few minutes of the second period, when the Sharks would get towards the goal and Washington would back up and let them get 3 shots off. And if the goal, I got to hand it to Washington's goalie for doing as good a job as he did. Because if it wouldn't have been for him and a high sticking call, they'd have been down 3 to 4 goals going into the third period. They should have had it tied up, but he decided he wanted to get cute on a breakaway, try to go between his legs, and he lost it, didn't even get a shot off. Yep, sure did. Had the Caps. There's 100 different statistical categories in hockey that you can go off of. Some people use them all. In a scouting report, there's only 56. So, like, if somebody's recruiting somebody or scouting somebody, they're only using 56 out of the 100. But in this game, I pulled every single stat per the 100, and the Caps had the edge in 77 out of 100. In the 6 major categories, the 3 major categories, which are offensive and defensive, so it makes up for 6, Caps had a severe advantage in 5 out of the 6. They were also at home. They were also rested, and they were playing a team 3,000 miles from home, 4th out of their 5th road game in a row, and they were on a back-to-back. There's no excuse for the way the Capitals played. What's your username? Colton, when they got the empty netter, I walked away, and then I heard it. I heard the first goal, and I laughed. I said, these stupid bastards. I said, why even score? And then about the time I walked back into my living room, like I'm coming from one side, there's two entrances. So like I'm coming around through the first, like, because we have two living rooms right there. One that's like a entry living room into the house, and then we've got our main one. So like I'm coming around through the first one, through the dining room, come in past the TV. They're showing the highlights of that little goal right there. And then as I'm passing by the TV to go back into the dining or the kitchen, the second one happens. I said, you've got to be kidding me. I immediately jumped on 5 Dimes and made a very substantial wager live for them to take it in OT to recoup about a third of the loss that I took on the regulation play. And they did it. I got to say, you don't get endings like that in hockey all the time. So, I mean, the game itself, like if you were there, it can't, like if you're a Caps fan and you were there, it doesn't end better than that. You know, and who are we? You know, we're the investors. We're the ones that, you know, are not the fans in the game. For the fans, you got to hand it to the Caps. They sent them off with what may be their best memory of the season. Well, the thing is, not only that, they're a slower-paced team in the grand scheme of things. They did have energy at the beginning, which that's normal. It's when you get into the midway point of the second period, then in the third period, where you see that energy start to die down. And in the second period, you saw it die down. They needed a breather. They created a couple of stupid penalties, which the Capitals created more penalties in this game than they have in the last 6 altogether. But when they would do that, the Caps would just slow down with them. They wouldn't push the pace. That's what killed me. They wouldn't push it. It's like, here's your opportunity. Power plays. They do nothing. They wasted their power play they got in the second period. They wasted 46 seconds hanging back behind mid-ice. 46 seconds. They wasted more time hanging around on the other side of the ice than moving the puck and trying to get in a position to score. That right there, I don't care if you're down by 10 with 2 minutes to go, out of sheer fucking pride, just go for it. I don't know. I'm sure a lot, but the thing is, most of them wouldn't have even had time to get to the top of the steps before the first one was scored, and then they probably turned around to cheer, and then about the time they were like, fuck it, it's still over, I'm going to beat the traffic. About the time they got up into the concourse, the second one happened, and everybody's trying to rush back to their seats for overtime. You know, guys, the play ended great. I mean, the game ended in some of the coolest fashion that you'll ever see a hockey game end. It just didn't end in regulation like we wanted it to. I am not a live bettor. I never bet live. But I damn sure did today. Damn sure did today. And it hurts. That's the second biggest hockey wager I've ever made in my career. The only other one that I've made bigger than that was last year's Game of the Year, which was like 2 weeks before the Stanley Cup playoffs started. And that was involving the Boston Bruins. And they shut out their opponent 4-0. I'm not in love with the Lightning today. Situationally, this is not a good game for them coming off that win last night. Again, they're the better team, in my opinion. Again, Lightning are still they were my preseason prediction to win the Cup, and I haven't changed that. I still believe that the Lightning are probably the most, when healthy, and playing at their full potential, I think they're the best team in hockey. But today's one of these games where I think they should be the underdog, and I think they should lose. Keith, nothing premium's been locked in. I've got my money on the Lakers minus 14 that I locked in last night at about 10:30 last night. And that was about the time I did my free play video. I have not locked in anything else. I still like the Lakers minus 14. The only reason I have not locked it in as a premium play and released it is just due to the fact that the Lakers are the worst fourth quarter team in basketball right now. They cannot win a fourth quarter battle. And that's not good when you're laying double digits. Just case in point, the other night we had Lakers minus 10. A minute into the fourth quarter, they were up by 22. They won by 10. I mean, it's not acceptable. But Keith, that's not to say that I won't. I actually like the Clippers today, but I didn't put the Clippers are going to have to prove that they can start moving the perimeter a little bit better for me before I keep backing them. Let's see, mister. I'm checking your account now, buddy. Give me just 1 second. Let me log in real quick, Well, I guess it would help if I put my login information in. There you are right there. You are active. Let me log in as you. Top play year. Log in as user. Yeah, I see it right. Oh, hold on. No, that's right. There it is. Hold on. I'm going to refresh your account, buddy. Give me just a second. See if this fixes it. Other than that, I'll have to let IT look at it. Because it shows that you have it. And when I log into your account as you, I see it. And actually, I want you, when I fix this for you, I want you to go back and read the write-up and tell me that it wasn't spot on. They just didn't do it. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to do a refresh on your account. Just to see if that does anything. I don't know that it will. All right, Molecular Ninja. Try it now. See if... No, I do not think the Clippers are the best team in the NBA. No, I do not. Okay, so I had a guy last week. A lot of you will remember. Was it earlier this week? It was either first of this week or late last week. We were sitting here going over some college basketball numbers and talking about my top 25. Whoever it was said that I was stupid for thinking that Purdue was a top 25 team, let alone ranking Purdue in my top 10. And then he was like, why do you not have Gonzaga at number 1? Told him why. He goes, well, at the very least, you should have them in the top 3. I said, they're not in the top 3. They're not in the top 5. And I said, I think they'll get exposed and show that they're not in the top 10. That's not to say Gonzaga's not good. That's not to say that Gonzaga doesn't deserve a high ranking because they're not losing games. They are winning games. But who are they beating? And it's like I said yesterday, I gave Gonzaga out for free on the live show and told everybody, if they do not start dismantling teams, they're going to lose their number 1 ranking. They will not be a number 1 seed come tournament time. And they're going to get exposed to the point where they end up dropping a game against an unranked opponent, because that's essentially all they play, and it's going to destroy their hopes of being a number one seed and being able to basically get into the Sweet 16 without trying. Last night, case in point. The Gonzaga could have drove in every single play and had a layup. Every time. Every time they move the ball inside, they move it in from the left side, bounce pass to the right, easy layup. They would do it 3-4 times in a row, and they would just stop. They would just stop. For whatever reason, they would stop. It's their own fault they didn't win. And now, credit to Pepperdine. I mean, Pepperdine didn't play bad, but let's put it to you this way. If they would have run those same type plays all game, they would have made 8 out of every 10 shots, and Gonzaga would. I mean, they could have put second stringers in at the end and still won by a truckload of points. That shows you they don't take into account anybody they play. They think they're the best team, which is bad. And it just shows you right there that just the mentality Gonzaga has is not the mentality of a true top 5 team. Going into this week, because I do my numbers every Sunday night, and the reason I'm kind of going live today is not only to prove a couple of people wrong, but also to talk with you guys, because I'm not going live tomorrow, and I may not even get to do a free play video. My kids go back to school tomorrow after the holidays, and tomorrow I have my normal Monday meeting with my accountant, and we close the books for the week, yada yada yada. And we're kind of starting fresh on a new year, and I haven't been truly into the office other than this morning when I went in for about 2 hours. I haven't been in since my kids got out of school for Christmas. It's the only time of the year that I'd take that long away and just strictly work from home or wherever I'm at. So I got to go in tomorrow and do that. So a rare Monday without a free play potentially, so I'm going to try to give you one today. Usually Sundays are the only days that I may not do a free play. And if I don't have a free play tomorrow, I'll throw one up on social media. And usually the only time of the year where I don't do free plays on Sunday is baseball season. Baseball season on Sundays, games start at 1 o'clock, and then usually we have NASCAR after that from Patrick, so I get my games up about 11 a.m. on Sundays, have Patrick's game race card up by noon, and then at 1 o'clock, I take the rest of the day off. The only time of the year I can do that, because that's the only sport I'm having to worry about. Later on, John. John, you don't never hang around no more, man. What are you doing? You used to be the first one to get here and the last one to leave. John don't love us no more. Yeah, Gonzaga doesn't deserve shit to be number one now. Whatever happened to the Zags winning every conference game by 30. And Steven, that was the only reason they got to where they were at. And they're handing it away. If I was Gonzaga's coach, I would be that my main focus wouldn't be to just win games. It would be to win games by 30, 40 points to ensure that I would get a number one seed in the tournament. Because you get a number one seed, you get to play a 15 seed first round, easy win, blow them out. Second round come, blow them out. You get to the Sweet 16 without trying, and because you're a number one seed, you're still more than likely going to overmatch your Sweet 16 seed. You don't have to start truly working until you get to the Elite Eight, and then we'll see what you're made of. You get a tournament berth and essentially get the first 2 rounds handed to you. That's why number one seeds are so important to teams like North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, because they have that extremely tough conference schedule. Then they have to immediately follow it up with the conference tournament. And then just a few short days later, boom, we're talking tournament time. They want to get a number one seed to know that fatigue won't kill them in the first and second round. Dante, that's just not true. We've made so much money in hockey this year. It's unreal. Let's put it to you this way. I've explained to you guys how I run my bankroll. Obviously, I have a round figure. That's my bankroll, right? Every year. But I have my bankroll separated into different amounts, which I invest into each sport. In NHL, every time I have a game of the year, I have my set number that I'm going to bet no matter what. And because I have 2 games of the year, one pre-All-Star break, one post-All-Star break, I also take 5% of my profit for the year to that point and add it to my normal game of the year wager and wager it. This was the second biggest hockey wager I've ever made in my career. I lost it, and it still is drops in the bucket to the overall winnings we've had this year. And don't get me wrong. I mean, we take underdogs, we take favorites, we take puck lines, we take regulation plays. I probably take more puck lines than anybody in the industry because I'm the only one that wins them. Puck lines are the second hardest thing to win in sports betting when it comes to your main core of American sports. I hate saying American sports when it comes to hockey, but the NHL is American. Hockey's Russian and, obviously a Canadian sport to their standards, but the run line in baseball is the hardest, and there are more unsuccessful run line bettors than anything in sports betting. Second is puck line betting in hockey. Run line betting? Shit. I bet more run lines in a month than an average bettor or an average investor or consultant would make in an entire season, and we don't lose a lot of them. I probably bet more puck lines than anybody in the industry too. I'm picky about them though. I don't release them every day. We have one 2 days ago, 4-1 winner. You have to know how to pick your spots, and you have to know how to pick it with teams that aren't satisfied with just winning by a goal. Yeah, the Avalanche yesterday, that was a good one. To be honest with you, that was going to be my game of the month yesterday. That was going to be it. Then I completely removed it from the card, and then I added it back as a premium play, and I decided that, and it rated a higher percentage, and there was better value overall with what you were getting with a team on a back-to-back on the road, 5-game road trip, playing the 4th out of those 5 games against a team that was rested, leading their division, and takes no mercy at home. Yeah, it was a good play. We were on the right side of it. We just, we decided to invest in the Capitals on a day that I don't think they wanted to be there any more than we wanted to see them not want to be there. Oh, shit, I don't know, Steven. $20 maybe? I was 15. I think the first sports bet I ever made was at a pool hall that I used to go to when I was younger. And the guy that owned the place would let me in. It was 21 and over. I was 15. And I think I put $20 on a 5-team parlay in college basketball. Did not win it. Hit 4 out of 5. They were all ATS bets. Loved it. Came back I would play one every week because I was already working at that point. Baseball season came around. He would love taking baseball because nobody ever won it. And for probably until about the time I was 18, all I would do is college basketball and Major League Baseball. Once I got into college, I started doing it kind of full time because I was working and all that stuff. And then I quit my job in college and completely lived off of that. Started my first business, built it up, decided to sell it, and then reinvest in a couple of things, put back enough money to live off of for a couple of years, and then take every other bit of it, start the bankroll that I wanted, start the consulting firm that would allow me to push the money through it, have the runners, have bank accounts in multiple states, and I was 22 at that point. That was 10 years ago. And here we are. And the thing is, I could be doing more, Steven, but what I do is when I get that range, I go 3 years, no matter how much I win, what the profit is, what I take in for a year. Obviously, I take the profits, save them. I mean, that's my retirement. It's what I live off of. And then I start a new year. And every third year, after 3 years of it, on that fourth year, I don't take a paycheck. I take every bit of profit that I have, dump it back into the payroll, come up with a percentage, and then up my wagering amount. So this is my fourth year, 2020, of doing the one dime a game premium, 3 dimes, 5 dimes. You know, you guys know my system. I'm hoping to be, at the start of 2021, doing a minimum of 2 dimes a premium. We got 10 likes, people. We got 30 people in here. We should be able to get 20 more likes in the blink of an eye. And I've got no problem giving you guys a free play. I actually have a premium hockey play on the card tonight. And hell, if you guys want to... Let's get up to 50 likes, and I'll be glad to do it. One thing that I do want to do real quick is, give me 1 second, guys. I'm going to go ahead and print off my William Hill lines for what there is already there for tomorrow. Scott, not usually. Usually Sundays are good days for us. I'm not saying we ain't never got our ass kicked on Sunday. Hell, I got my ass kicked earlier. For about 20 dimes. Yes, they did. Rider covered. We're still going to have a good premium and a premium card today, I believe. Always remember, Scott, Sundays are the days that the sports books have to recap losses if they've had a bad week. Mondays are the days that they've been thinking about since the week before to try to get off on the right foot. And Fridays are the days that they overlook the most because they're already focused on Saturday when everybody's off work, running to the ticket counter, getting ready to blow that paycheck because they're going to bet their team. Alex, you're on a long package, man. It's one day. You'll get it. If you try to bounce back after, a big loss in one day, you will inevitably kill yourself bankroll-wise. I'm telling you right now, my underdogs have been flat out slaying here these past 2 weeks. Keith, do me a favor, run the chat for a second. Let me see if William Hill's posted some lines for tomorrow. And if they have, I'm going to go ahead and print them off, review them here for a second, and I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a free play on tomorrow's card as well, just in the off chance I can't do a video tomorrow. I'm going to have a very, very busy morning, and the whole afternoon is going to be spent going over games, And usually doing a free play video takes at least an hour to do, as far as recording it, getting everything, ready to upload, then uploading and all that stuff. And I'm certainly not going to do an hour, spend an hour doing that if it's going to take away from me going over games, because that's just not as important. I know a lot of people don't see it that way. I have people on YouTube tell me all the time I need to focus on YouTube more than studying. I'm like, that's the dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Yeah, let me not focus on what I do for a living and what I have people pay me for, but let me worry about making sure that I get people on YouTube their free play. That I could win 10 in a row, don't hear from them, then you lose one, and they tell you that you're the worst ever, you suck, and they're having to sell their third-born child just to be able to eat. It's funny. It is funny. All right, we got some lines out. So let me let me go ahead and print this. That way, Chase, what is the point of having three-way and regulation bets that are different juice? My book will have regulation be better than three-way and vice versa. It all depends on the book, man. Are you asking what the point of it is? I don't know. And the only reason I put three-way in my write-up sometimes is because when I say regulation, people seem like they don't know what that means. I don't get it. Like, what part of regulation don't you understand? It means no overtime. And if I put minus a half goal, they don't get that either. They're like, how can somebody win by a half goal? Oh, my God. Some of the emails you see. But a lot of times it's because it can be parlayed and stuff like that. It's all based on the system of what the book takes, doesn't take, all that stuff. So... yeah, see, Scott right there, regulation plays can be parlays, three ways can't, see. And that's why, like, some local guys won't take regulation plays or won't, they won't even take it. They only want to take money lines because they want you to parlay them. Or they only want to take money lines. They don't want you to take puck lines because you can win 5 in a row from them and then you lose one because you decided to bet minus 450 on the Tampa Bay Lightning one day against, who knows, the Red Wings, and you lose your ass because the Red Wings come out and win 5-0. Alex, I don't know. I put them on my free play video yesterday. They should. They should not only cover, they should absolutely, let's put it to you this way. If they play in the fourth quarter, that's the question, because that's what the Lakers haven't done all year, is play in the fourth quarter. That 14 should be nothing for them. They should win this game by 20. The accurate line in my system, I had Lakers minus 18.5. Detroit's also fatigued. They're on the West Coast. It sets up perfectly for a Lakers blowout. I think the line is okay, but the Lakers have to play in the fourth quarter. If they don't play in the fourth quarter, they're not going to cover. That's the only reason I haven't pulled the trigger on the Lakers being a premium play. They've got to show me they can play in the fourth quarter. Colton, why does your William Hill not take it? William Hill takes regulation bets on mine, but it's also not in Iowa. It's in its Vegas account. And I have one in Jersey. But that's who I put most of the money that I put down on that game today was through William Hill. I didn't do all of it with him because I didn't have enough in my account and I couldn't make a deposit that large on a Sunday. So I had to throw some through 5 dimes, and then I did some with a local guy to make sure that I got everything I wanted on the game. What's up, Danny? Stephen, truth be told, it is MLB. MLB is now. You also have to take in consideration it's different for different people because there's sports they just don't follow. They don't know. They only know what they can see. They don't truly know the ins and outs of it. So, if they don't know anything about hockey, obviously hockey would probably be the hardest for them. But if you talk about somebody that knows the sports, that truly knows them, understands how it works, understands the teams, really studies them, then baseball is most certainly the hardest. And that's been proven. The books make more on baseball, not only percentage-wise of wins and losses, but money because of how much money people lose on a daily basis in baseball than anything else. Steven, to be honest with you, most consultants, the only thing they look at is the line, the starting pitching, and the win-loss ratio. That's it. That is it. They don't take into it. Most people couldn't tell you the names of any of their true bullpen guys, not unless you're talking about like CC Sabathia, which, when he came back from rehab that one year and he was pitching as a middle reliever. Obviously your Riveras and Eckersons from way back when. You've always had your big name relievers that they know, but they don't know on what day they're supposed to go up in the rotation. They don't take into account these people that they've never heard of because they don't actually pay attention. They also don't take into account when a bullpen guy goes up based on a scouting report. How many pitches do they want him to throw? How many batters do they want him to face? Do they want him to face more right-handers than left-handers? Does that change the bullpen rotation? Did he throw more pitches than they normally allow from him in his last time out? Is he allowed to go back-to-back nights if he doesn't reach his pitch count? They don't know any of that shit. They couldn't even. You could go and say, name me one bullpen guy give them 5 teams and say, name me one middle reliever or closer from those teams. Name 5. Could be the 5 most well-known teams in baseball: the Cubs, the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers, and we'll say the Astros right now. And I bet they couldn't do it. I did not have the Hills on my card. The Hills are in trouble. I've never seen a team go without a bucket for that long, just without a single bucket. They came back. They started playing. Garrison Brooks shined last night, but they've got issues. They really have issues. Taking my dad to see him play Duke this year. This is like the bucket list item for him. Like, he could die happy after he sees this, and I feel bad. Like, now I feel like I'm screwing him because I'm taking him to see him on the worst possible year ever. I've never seen the Tar Heels in my 32 years of living play like this. They'll come around, though, guys. Are they a tournament team this year that's going to make a run? Fuck, no. No way. They make the tournament. I think it'll be a miracle. But you watch. They're going to bag some wins. Carolina's already been wrote off by the entire world. They're going to bag some big wins this year that are going to go, oh, yeah, I forgot. It's still Carolina. All right, Keith, run the. Yeah, Keith, I want to back that one. Tell me how much action you get in. I want half of it. Keith, run it for a minute. Let me go pull this off the printer, guys, and we'll go over some stuff for tomorrow. Like I said, in the off chance I can't give out a free play, and we'll do this till about 5:30, and then I'm gonna have to wrap it up for the day. I told myself I wouldn't even do this today, but some people say that, oh hey, you lose and you hide. No, we don't hide. Hell, we go live. Well, they came out flat in that game against the Caps. They were just off. Today, I don't think they came out flat. I think they came out flat out not trying in the first two periods. Like, they didn't give a shit. They played no defense. It's not like they were playing defense and just not succeeding at it. It wasn't being played. I have no respect for that. They mentioned in that game 100 different times, oh, here's Ovechkin. He's the 10-year captain of the Washington Capitals, the first Russian-born captain. Shut up. I'm sick of hearing that. He didn't play like a captain today. He played like a junior hockey player from fucking Arizona. I'll be back. Jadeveon Clowney rocked Carson Wentz. Good. I don't like Carson Wentz. He is overrated. I wish somebody rocked Deshaun Watson last night. Yes, Steven, that is correct. It's the 13th. All right, so 28 likes. Let's beef that up about 22 more. Okay, so tomorrow, decent little slate of games for a Monday. We got one college football game going on between Miami and Ohio and UL Lafayette. Normal slate of Monday NBA with, 7, 8 total games? Nine total games tomorrow. Nice little slate of college basketball for tomorrow as far as a Monday is concerned. Not as far as the amount of games, just the matchups that we have on hand. UL Lafayette versus App State, Monroe versus Coastal Carolina. So we're getting into this conference play now, guys, and it's not where teams are freaking out yet. There's two that I've already got circled for tomorrow that I really like. Possibly 3, but there's not a line on that one yet, so we'll have to wait and see there. Mondays are always a good NBA day because usually that's when, teams are either starting road trips, coming off of them. So a lot of times you can, if you really follow travel, then you can usually find some good spots in the NBA on Monday. And I think that this football game is going to be a nice little bowl game tomorrow. UL Lafayette, I'd say that the line is fairly accurate, but, man, I'm going to be honest with you. This game could go either way. We'll see if either one of these teams show up and care anything about it. The good thing about a mid-major, though, when playing in a bowl game, they care a lot more about it than any Power 5 team does. Because this is the best that it gets for them, is being able to go to a bowl game. Well, they didn't get a New Year's Eve or New Year's Day bowl or anything like that, but hey, they get to play post-regular season football. That's big for mid-majors. Your brother's big sports guys like you. Huh? Maybe that question wasn't directed at me. I actually, at first glance, like the under, too. I like it just for the sheer fact that if any game in the history of football should ever go over, it should be this one. But expect the unexpected, right? Scott, you sent me that email last night, didn't you? That is the Scott that I'm thinking of, right? After the what the hell? After the top play win yesterday on LA Tech. Oh, I couldn't tell if you were talking to me or not. Yeah, I have two brothers. I mean, yeah, they're big sports guys. They're not as insane as I am, but they're most definitely sports guys. Appreciate that email, Scott. I got so many freaking emails yesterday. I mean, I just didn't have time to answer them all. Most of them regarding college basketball yesterday. Hold on, I got something for you, Scott. You might like this. Hold on. There you go, Scott. A little Red Wings action for you. Later on, Danny. See you on. It won't be going live tomorrow unless something weird happens, but see you back on Tuesday. Tuesday should be back to normal schedule, but we'll be back to going live in the mornings more than likely. And the mornings are, right around lunchtime. The late afternoon stuff we were able to do during the holidays because I didn't have to worry about any other meetings or anything outside of this in the afternoons. So I was able to get a ton done in the morning to where I had the extra time in the afternoon. It'll still be a good rivalry tonight. I'm just sad that the Red Wings couldn't keep that playoff streak going. 23 straight postseason appearances, all those Stanley Cup wins. I just wish they could have kept that going. And it's one thing to break the streak, but to go from that to what they are now is just... And you got to think, there's a lot of talent on that team. Just as a team, they're bad. Are there any other sports doing colleges in West Virginia besides WVU and Marshall? No. $25 consecutive? I thought it was 23 in a row that they made postseason. Zetterberg. That's one of the problems. Some of the highest contracts ever in hockey to the veterans that are... I hate calling somebody washed up, but I mean, in hockey, when you get to a certain age, I mean, you just... I mean, you've had the hell beat out of you your whole life in a sport like that. It's like asking a 65-year-old to come play football in the NFL. It's just not, you just can't do it. No, you're right. 25 from 1991 to 2016. There's an asterisk by that. Why? Probably because there was a canceled season somewhere in there, like '05 or '06 or something like that. I'm happy though that Mike Ilitch got his Stanley Cups with that team, because we all know that. Well, we all don't know. You know, being that you're a Detroit guy, Ilitch didn't care that much about the Red Wings. He used the Red Wings to his advantage because they won. It was the city's team, because obviously the Lions were atrocious. The Pistons weren't much outside of the 80s and early 90s. Except, right there in whatever year they won something, what, '08, '09 something. But you stick them in Auburn Hills, you shouldn't be calling them Detroit Pistons anymore. And it was, he loved the Tigers so much. That was his baby. And, so many good things happened in his era. Jim Leland being the manager, Justin Verlander coming through. He wanted to use the success of the Red Wings to help fund the Tigers and hopefully make them the next Detroit dynasty. It just never happened. But good, he used the Red Wings to his advantage to make sure that he never had to worry about the Tigers. Never had to worry about selling them, never having to worry about going bankrupt with them, because the Red Wings were funding them for a lot of years. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap this up in a minute. It's late Sunday afternoon, so I don't expect a lot of people to be in here hanging around. If anybody wants a hockey play for tonight, this is what I've got. I am playing another regulation play. I know I've got the Red Wings jersey on, but it's not involving, well, it is involving the game, but it's not the Wings. It's very rare that I can take the Blackhawks, because the Blackhawks, even as much offensive talent as they have, Patrick Kane, Jonathan Toews, they're just, again, as a team, they're not good. I think they got rid of one of the best coaches in hockey, which I thought was laughable at best. They've been on a downward spiral since 15 when they won their last Stanley Cup. They show signs of offensive greatness, still being one of the higher scoring teams in all of hockey. But just as a whole, home or away, they're not very good. But the Madhouse on Madison, the United Center, is still one of the toughest places in hockey to play. It is certainly one of the biggest home ice advantages in hockey, just as if we were still talking about Joe Louis Arena in Detroit if the tables were turned. I'm not going to say that Joe Louis gets near as rowdy or as the Little Caesars Arena gets near as rowdy as Joe Louis did, because, again, that was an historic place, and just the sound inside that place was unreal. You talk about two bad teams going up against each other in a bitter rivalry, two of the original sixes, one of the greatest hockey teams ever against one of the better hockey teams of the last decade, but both of them certainly in nothing short of just an off few years. It's rare that I can say that we're going to back the Blackhawks, But we're going to do it today in regulation. We're getting good value. It's the lesser of two evils here, guys. And even with Larkin and the talent that Detroit has, I truly believe that Detroit's, if you had to pick where their talent lies more, whether it be offensively or defensively, my opinion is going to be defensively with Detroit. Problem is when they go on the road, that doesn't show as much. The Blackhawks, they have no defensive talent. All of their talent lies within the offense. At home, when they're getting to play not only a rivalry, a game that they're going to get up for, a game that's going to be rowdy, a game that's going to be nationally televised, I just think that their offense is going to outweigh their defense. And I truly believe that the Blackhawks are just a better overall team than the Red Wings. So I'm going to rock with the Chicago Blackhawks tonight at home in regulation. That is on my card. That was the only premium play that I had for today in hockey. So there you go, guys. Take that. I may drop some money on this Nashville game later. I need to look farther into it, but if it is, it'll just be for fun. But my money's on Chicago tonight. One of the rare times we can take Chicago with confidence. I'm going to do it tonight. As far as tomorrow, man, I want to look farther into it. So what I'll tell you guys is if I do not get to make a free play video, at the very least, I will throw a free play on Twitter. So if you're not following me at PicksChase. And if you guys got any ideas of maybe some specials or something you want me to run this coming week, let me know. Shoot me an email, chase@chasewins.com. I'll look into it, and if something that we can do, we'll do it. Have a little fun with it. I usually do, Colton. I don't ever do it before conference play starts, and conference play has just now started, so now's when I'll start looking at the over-unders a lot. The over-unders are nothing more than a coin flip before you get into conference play just because of the teams that are a complete mismatch or teams that just don't really prepare for each other because they have no true scouting report on them. Now that we get into conference play, you'll start seeing some over-unders come out of college. All right, guys. Appreciate all y'all tuning in on a Sunday afternoon. Sorry for the loss on the Capitals today, but, you know, if I could have been there in person to give them a swift kick in the ass, I would have, but we don't control any of it. So it is what it is, and we move on, and we get right back to it. But for all the people that say that, oh, when you lose, you run and hide, you don't never say it. No, you must be having me confused with somebody else. I don't know anybody that takes a big loss and then goes live. So, all right, guys. Looks like my college ball, I still got a couple of plays left today, but we just cashed 3 tickets. So college basketball is now doing what it needs to do. And we will finish it out strong, go play the NHL play. I've got a play in that one, Scott. I've got a premium play in it. That's why I was saying I still have a couple left to go. That's one of them. All right, guys. We will see you back on Tuesday. If something changes and I can move some things around in my schedule for tomorrow, we'll come tomorrow afternoon, but it's not looking promising. So see you back on Tuesday morning for the normal Tuesday show. Appreciate you guys stopping by, and we will see you then.